As chefs, we often spend years honing our skills with knives, with pans, with technique. But one of the tools that had the biggest impact on my career wasn't a knife. It wasn't a new piece of equipment. It was my library. So recently I was having dinner with a friend and we started talking about, the value of a library. And we started talking about the books in the library, and I realized that I've got almost 1,000 books in my library. And my friend was really concerned about what to do with their library because, well, they've offered them to students and they've offered them to a lot of other young cooks, and people just don't seem to be interested in taking them anymore. And I thought about how unfortunate that was, and immediately in that conversation I was thinking to myself, somebody should make a video about the value that's in them. And then I guess I kind of smacked myself in the head and said, well, why don't you do it? And that's why we're here. So I want to share with you some of my key philosophies and some of the key ways that my library serves me as well as it does. My name is Gerald Ford, and I've spent 30 years as a professional chef, climbing the ladder in hotels, restaurants, private clubs, and now I teach and coach everything that I've learned because I'm here to help executive chefs get the tools that they need to be more effective and run their operation so it can't run them. So by the end of this video, I hope to show you that every great chef stands on a foundation of knowledge, and that a well-built culinary library is the ultimate accelerator, fueling stability, creativity, leadership, and the strategic edge to grow, scale, and elevate a career in this field. So let's get into this. Now, before Google, long before online forums, books were where authority lived, and I still believe that it does. Whenever I need to reconnect with the fundamentals, sauce making, butchery, global flavors, my library is my anchor. It's representative of my culinary backbone. A good book doesn't just teach technique, it teaches thinking. It builds the kind of understanding that stays with you for life. Books are a consistent resource to help you scale ideas. Running a kitchen isn't just about having great ideas, it's about scaling them. Books gave me frameworks, language, vocabulary, consistency, and support that I could pass on. And I find it still works that way time and time again, from one cook to the next, or even the entire team at the same exact time. Another key point here is that books multiply the speed and spread of ideas in an operation. Because to me, a strong library means that I'm not reinventing the wheel every single time, and it gives me a great foundation to pull from, especially if I've tried it, if I've vetted the recipe. It accelerates menu development, it speeds up training, it sparks creativity. It literally keeps me from starting from scratch and becomes a force multiplier, allowing me to move further, faster. Often a book is the summary of the best lessons of someone's career. That's pretty impressive. You can tear through somebody's lifetime of experience in, a couple weeks of reading, a few hours a day. The internet requires clarity in search. And don't get me wrong, I think the internet's a powerful thing. But the internet's most powerful when you already know what you're looking for. And for me, books offer something different. They offer depth, context. They're focused in such a way that I can search through a variety of ideas, still looped back to the same main topic. With AI, it makes it a lot easier. With ChatGPT, it makes research narrower. But if I want to pick up a book on Italian festival cooking, then it's very easy for me to do that and really hone in on non-specific things and actually have the joy of discovery just with a narrowed scope. To me, it's kind of like finding the idea you didn't know you needed, but looking for it in a place where you feel like you'll find it. The next thing I think that keeps books incredibly relevant is that they have a feel that translates to our world of service and of hospitality. There's something about holding a book, flipping through the pages, seeing the pictures and notes from past projects. Beyond that, books have a texture, a presence, the thickness of the pages, the richness of the images and the text, the font. I've always found that fuels my creativity in a way no screen has ever really gotten to. And I think it's worthwhile for me to share a ritual that I developed decades ago around menu writing. Around the time when I knew a menu was coming, I'd usually spend some money on some new books, grab a stack and download into my brain as many ideas, as many things as possible, even Xeroxing pages before a cell phone, and now I snap pictures with things all the time. And then organizing those ideas, making notes, building my inspiration, even sketching ideas that spin off of the original idea. Now, I may look through my screenshots from Insta or from scrolling, but the real meat and potatoes of my research always comes back to the books in my library that I've learned to develop trust with. It's very easy to pull something up online and not necessarily be able to vet it and think it as authoritative, think of it as useful, even though it may not be. Authenticity online isn't really guaranteed unless you're digging into things and actually seeing that it is authentic or cross-referenced. So to me, my library and the things in my library are things that have earned their spots there. Now, I definitely have go-tos, and I'll share that list with you in a few minutes here. Everything in my library I think of as a dependable resource. So I guess to wrap up, just kind of one of the thoughts that was in my head, it's easy to get tempted by a new knife or the latest silicone mold. And sure, those are tools, and they absolutely have their place. But they don't make you a better cook, they don't make your food better, and they certainly don't improve your leadership. And to me, a purposeful library, a serious investment in books, does. Books, in my opinion, help strengthen the culinary backbone. That library is something that you can share very efficiently and in greater depth than very often we can remember all the time. A great library speeds up the creativity and helps expand future possibilities because there's new ideas in there that can truly change a career for the better. I used to budget $100 a month for books, and I still think that it's one of the smartest investments I've ever made. And to be honest, I haven't made it through all of those books that I've picked up over the nearly 30 years that I've spent cooking, but I can definitely say that a lot of my successes came from ideas, recipes, techniques, processes, and setups that I read about, even if it was just a starting point to dig into something online. On top of that, I would say today I go even faster because I also invest in coaching. Investing in coaching is like hiring one of those mentors who wrote a book and accelerating the learning process. If you're looking for a coach, then that's what I do every single day, and we can talk. But whether you're ready for coaching or just ready to start building your foundation, take the next step. Now, if you want my list of all-time essential books, hit the link below or just comment library in the comments and I'll send it over to you, or you can download it using the link. And if you're curious about my favorite leadership books, I did a great video on that one a little while ago, and you can check that out in this video right here and let me know how it works for you. I hope this is useful to you. So until next time, thank you and good cooking.